Okay, so if you've ever been told, you need more talent or maybe felt that success is just for those like effortless genius types, well, this deep dive is definitely for you.
Yeah, we're really going to tear apart the science of persistence today. We're looking at research that basically proves effort is the ultimate multiplier in the long run.
We are diving deep into this idea called grit.
Right. And grit is, it's more than just sticking with something. It's this combination of passion and sustained dedication, really focused on very long-term goals.
Which kind of flies in the face of our society's obsession with the talent myth, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It totally challenges that.
So let's kick things off with this fantastic paradox. It comes from West Point, which is, I mean, one of the toughest places to get into and succeed.
Right. Everyone admitted to West Point is exceptional, screened by what they call the whole candidate score.
Hmm.
That looks at leadership, fitness, and yeah, really high test scores, SATs, ACTs, the works.
So these are basically the nation's most talented, most vetted students. You'd think they're all set up for success there.
Exactly. And yet, during the first really grueling 7 weeks, they call it beast barracks, something like 1 in 5 cadets drops out.
1 in 5.
Yeah.
Despite being pre-screened for talent and potential.
Yep. And that became the big question driving the research. Why were these incredibly talented individuals not sticking it out? What was missing?
And the answer, it turns out, had almost nothing to do with that whole candidate score, their supposed innate talent.
That's right. The thing that really predicted who stayed and who left. It was grit.
Wow.
And what makes this even more compelling, I think, is the story behind the research itself. The author, Angela Duckworth. Well, she grew up hearing her own father tell her, you're no genius.
Ouch.
Yeah. But then, years later, she actually won the MacArthur Genius Fellowship for this very research. The research that pretty much proved effort matters more than raw ability.
Okay, I have to say that's deeply satisfying.
Isn't it?
And it matters so much because, let's face it, talent feels kind of fixed, right? Like you either have it or you don't.
Mm-hmm.
But this grit research, it gives us a direction for change, something we can actually do. We can choose to cultivate effort, persistence. It feels, I don't know, fairer somehow.
That's a great way to put it. It offers a relatively fair direction, as the research suggests.
So, okay, if we accept grit is the key,
Mm-hmm.
how does it actually translate into achievement? Like, what's the mechanism? Duckworth lays out this two-equation model.
Yeah, this is really core to understanding it. It's simple but powerful. 2 equations. First, talent times effort equals skill.
Talent X effort, skill. Got it.
Second, skill times effort equals achievement.
Skill X effort equals achievement. Okay, wait. Effort shows up twice there.
Exactly. That's the crucial insight. Effort is the only factor that gets counted twice.
So if the math is that clear effort multiplied by effort is basically what leads to achievement, why are we, as a society, so hung up on just the talent part? Why don't we all just apply more effort?
That's a really good question. I suspect it's psychological, right? We want things to feel easy, maybe.
Yeah.
We admire the effortless genius.
Yeah, probably.
But the math, like you said, it doesn't lie. Effort is the double multiplier. Talent. Okay,
Yeah.
talent might determine how quickly you build a skill when you first start putting in effort.
Yeah.
How fast you go from novice to somewhat competent.
Right.
But achievement, that's the result of actually using the skill you've built. And that second application, that's pure effort. Again, sustained effort.
So someone could be a natural genius, pick up a skill super fast,
Mm-hmm.
but if they then just coast, if they don't put in that second round of effort to apply the skill consistently, they don't actually achieve much.
Precisely. Look at the example the sources use. The novelist John Irving.
Oh, yeah, I remember reading about him.
He struggled hugely with dyslexia, actually got a C- in high school English. By conventional metrics, his initial talent for writing seemed low.
C-. Wow.
But he became this great novelist through just relentless rewriting, revision after revision, pure persistence. His effort was off the charts. He built the skill through sheer repetition and hard work, and then he achieved success by applying that hard-won skill over and over. That relentless application, that's the grit.
That makes so much sense. So this really pushes us to the next big question. If effort is the multiplier and grit is that sustained effort, can we actually develop it? Is it fixed, or can we change our own level of grit?
And the really exciting answer for the research is yes, absolutely. Grit is highly malleable. It's not some fixed trait you're born with.
Okay, that's huge.
It is. And it seems to be built on 4 key psychological assets. The research suggests they often develop in a kind of sequence. First interest, then practice, then purpose, and finally hope.
Interest, practice, purpose, hope. Okay. Let's maybe start near the top with purpose. It feels like the most enduring grit comes when people see their work as more than just a job, like a calling.
That's exactly right. That represents the highest level of motivation. Purpose, in this context, is defined as this intention to contribute to the well-being of others.
So it's not just about me, my career, my success.
No, the really gritty people find their work important, not just to me, but to others. That connection to something bigger than yourself that provides the real staying power when things inevitably get difficult or tedious.
There's that classic parable of the three bricklayers, right? That seems to fit perfectly here.
Oh, it's a perfect illustration. You have three bricklayers, what they're doing. The first one says, I'm laying bricks.
That's the job. Purely transactional, get paid, go home.
Exactly. The second one says, I'm building a church.
Okay, that's a bit more. That's maybe a career. There's some pride in the craft, maybe ambition involved.
Right. But the third one says, I'm building the house of God.
That's the calling, the mission, connected to a larger purpose.
Precisely. The physical action laying bricks is identical for all three. But that internal framing, that sense of purpose, changes everything. It leads to higher satisfaction, more persistence, less absenteeism.
And importantly, this isn't just for, like, doctors or priests.
Yeah,
No.
not at all. The sources mention a study of secretaries where roughly equal numbers viewed their work as a job, a career, or a calling. It proves this mindset, this sense of purpose, is possible in pretty much any line of work. It's about how you frame it internally.
That reframing is so powerful. Okay, let's rewind a bit then to the beginning of that sequence you mentioned, interest. The first asset, we hear all the time, follow your passion.
Oh yeah, that advice is everywhere.
But the research suggests that's kind of misleading. Passion isn't usually the sudden lightning bolt, is it?
No, rarely. That advice implies passion is just out there, fully formed, waiting to be discovered like buried treasure. And it almost never works that way. Sets people up for disappointment, I think.
Yeah, because you wait for the lightning bolt and it doesn't come.
Exactly. Think about Julie Child, her famous first bite of sole meunière in France. That was amazing, transformative for her. But it wasn't the destination. It was an opening, a spark.
Just the start.
Right. She then spent years actively developing that initial spark. Cooking, learning, experimenting, refining, turning that flicker of interest into deep expertise and passion.
So interest isn't found, it's developed.
Yes. The research suggests it happens in stages. First, there's discovery. This is often messy, accidental even. You just stumble across something that catches your attention, sparks a little curiosity.
Like trying a new dish or reading an interesting article.
Exactly. Then comes development. This is where you have to be active. You cultivate it, you engage with it, you nurture that initial spark, you invest time and energy. You lean in. And finally, there's deepening. This is where you start to see the nuances, the complexities that only an expert can really appreciate. Keeps the subject fresh and engaging, even after years, because you're always finding something new within it.
Okay, so that development phase, that leaning in, that requires the second asset you mentioned, practice. Practice.
Yeah.
But here, we need to talk about the quality of practice, right? Not just putting in hours, because you could just be repeating the same mistakes.
Oh, absolutely. That's a crucial distinction. We've all met someone who says they have, like, 20 years of experience.
So really, it's just 1 year of experience repeated 20 times.
Exactly. That's rote repetition. Productive effort, the kind that builds real skill and grit. It's something different. It's focused. It's intentional. It's what the Japanese call kaizen, continuous improvement. And in psychology, it's known as deliberate practice.
Deliberate practice. Okay, that sounds intense. And I've heard it contrasted with that feeling of flow, where you're totally absorbed and time flies.
Yeah, it's pretty much the opposite of flow. Flow feels good, effortless even. Deliberate practice does not.
So what defines it then? What makes practice deliberate?
Well, it has several key components, and none of them are particularly fun. First, you need to set a very specific stretch goal, something just beyond your current abilities, often focused on a specific weakness you've identified.
Okay, so targeting a weakness, not just doing what you're good at.
Right. Second, it demands 100% focused attention, no distractions. Third, you need immediate and honest feedback on how you did. And crucially, this feedback is often negative. It tells you what you did wrong so you can correct it.
Oof. Constant criticism.
Pretty much. And fourth, you need repetition with reflection and refinement. You keep doing it, adjusting based on the feedback until you master that specific weakness.
Wow. Okay. So it's not surprising that the sources say people rate deliberate practice as requiring super high effort and actually low enjoyment.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
mentally and sometimes physically taxing. It's not designed to be fun, it's designed to make you better. And this is a really key finding. High achievement, the kind that gritty people reach, is almost never effortless. It's built on this foundation of difficult, focused practice.
That completely reframes the idea of mastery, doesn't it? It's not about cruising, it's about constantly pushing into discomfort, confronting your flaws head on over and over.
hmm Which leads us perfectly to the fourth psychological asset, the one that kind of holds it all together, hope.
Hope. Is that like the light at the end of the tunnel? Believing it'll pay off eventually.
It's a bit more than just wishful thinking. Hope, in this context, isn't blind optimism. It's the realistic expectation that your efforts, specifically that hard, uncomfortable, deliberate practice, will actually lead to improvement. It's the belief that you can get better, that your situation isn't fixed.
So it's the belief that the struggle is worthwhile.
Yes. If you lose that hope, that conviction that your hard work will eventually make a difference, well, that's when you quit. Especially during that long, often painful period between first discovering an interest and maybe seeing the real fruits of your labor or finding that deeper purpose. Hope fuels the persistence through the difficult middle.
That makes sense. That sustained effort, particularly the uncomfortable, deliberate practice part, seems like it would be impossible without believing it's actually going somewhere.
Absolutely.
Okay, so before we get to the final takeaways, one more thing. How do gritty people deal with setbacks? Because pursuing long-term goals, I mean, you're guaranteed to hit obstacles, face rejection, fail sometimes.
That's a great point. They manage their goals hierarchically, and they seem to intuitively understand when to be flexible and when to be, well, stubborn.
Hierarchy. How does that work?
Think of it using the ink and pencil analogy. Your highest level goal, your ultimate mission, your calling, the fundamental reason why you're doing what you're doing, that's written in ink. It's fixed, non-negotiable.
Okay, the big why.
Right. But all the lower level goals, the specific projects you undertake, the strategies you use, the particular way you approach a task, those are written in pencil.
Ah, so they can be changed.
Exactly. They can be erased, adjusted, tweaked, or even thrown out completely if they're not working, or if you hit a dead end. You adapt the tactics without abandoning the overall mission.
Like getting a ton of rejection slips for your novel.
Perfect example. Or look at the cartoonist Bob Mankoff, who eventually became the cartoon editor for The New Yorker.
Oh, yeah.
He was reportedly rejected by the magazine something like 2,000 times before they finally accepted one of his cartoons.
2,000 times. That's incredible persistence.
It is, but crucially, he didn't quit cartooning. That was his ink goal, his passion. What he did was constantly change his approach, his drawing style, his subject matter, the kind of jokes he told. Those were his pencil goals. He kept adapting the how without ever giving up on the what or the why.
Ink and pencil. That's a really useful way to think about it. Don't give up the dream, but be willing to change the plan.
Precisely.
And speaking of managing things, if we want to focus our energy on those big ink goals, there's that great prioritization tip, often credited to Warren Buffett.
Oh yeah, the 255 rule. It's brilliantly simple.
So the story goes, he told his pilot, Step 1, write down your top 25 career goals.
Okay, list everything you want to achieve.
Step 2, carefully review the list and circle your absolute top 5 priorities, the most important ones.
Right, the non-negotiables.
And then step 3, and this is the killer part, the 20 goals you didn't circle. Those don't become your second-tier priorities.
No.
They become your avoid at all costs list.
Exactly. Because those other 20 things, they're interesting, they're maybe appealing, but they're the things most likely to distract you, to siphon away the time and energy you desperately need to actually achieve your top 5.
So grit isn't just about persistence, it's also about ruthless focus and simplification, saying no to the good to make room for the great.
That's a huge part of it. You
Okay.
can't be greedy about everything. You have to choose your long-term goals carefully and then protect your focus.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, what's the big message for you listening right now? We started off talking about the myth of the effortless genius.
Yeah, and I think we end by challenging how we even perceive achievement itself. It's often not what we imagine.
Right, it's not usually about those lightning bolt moments of brilliance.
No. The sources talk about this concept, the mundanity of excellence. It basically says that the greatest achievements are often the cumulative result of, well, Thousands of small, seemingly mundane actions.
Mundane actions like practicing scales or rewriting that paragraph again.
Exactly. If you could use a time machine, as the research suggests, and watch an expert develop over their entire career, you wouldn't see magic. You wouldn't see effortless leaps. What you'd see is an incredible accumulation of small, consistent, deliberate efforts, day after day, year after year.
Showing up, doing the work, even when it's hard, even when it's boring.
That's the essence of it. So the ultimate takeaway, I think, isn't that you need to somehow find more talent or be born a genius.
No, it's that you need to choose to be the person who shows up, who puts in the effort persistently, day in and day out. That's where the real power lies. You just have to choose to cultivate your grit.